Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this edition of Primetime Newscast in the English language on Canal International. I'm called Morinzi at Top Stories. November 30 is a deadline for the delivery of the Olympic Sports Complex. The date Magic Construction has said work was to be dusted in the soccer arena, and the Confederation of African Football had given Cameroon an ultimatum to get the stadium ready on or before this day. And Cameroon in the year 2022 will witness an increase of 0.2% a fee in its mobile money transaction. The announcement made by government some few days ago does not please the mobile telephone companies. And with the aim of facilitating movements and fighting urban disorder and reducing theft, sellers of the Avenue Kennedy have been tasked to leave the roadside market to the newly constructed Ongola market of Phase Raf of the government. Those are major stories. Details right ahead. Good evening once more. November 30 is the deadline for the delivery of the Olympic Sports Complex. The dates Magic Construction said work was to be dusted in the soccer arena, and the Confederation of African Football had equally given Cameroon an ultimatum to get the stadium ready today of phase on or before this day. The Minister of Sports and Physical Education was at the Olympic Sports Complex today to check on the preparedness of the stadium. More in the following story with Haisincha.
This is a global view of the Olympic Sports Complex. This November 30th, 2021. The sports jewel sparkling with latest modernized works. It is the D-Day, and Minister Narcisse Mwale-Kombi is here to glance a final eye on the evolution of works at the soccer arena. McGill Construction on with light touches this Tuesday afternoon as the COCAN president launches the start of technical operations ahead of the official handing over ceremony of the Olympic Sports Complex this Friday, December 3rd. According to McGill Construction, all is ready. Time to do auto-evaluation.
We will check the quality of installation, we'll check the quality of equipment, on all auto control with assurance quality. Okay. And we can check also the equipment inside room by room.
Narcisse Mwale-Kombi challenges the committee members to do a thorough check of all the inner and outer facets to ensure all is perfect comes Friday.
Former Indomitable Lion Jules Onana, who is battling for the presidency of Cameroon's Football Federation, Fecafoot, has described the football situation in Cameroon as pathetic and deplorable, reason why he is running as candidate of Fecafoot to find solutions to problems of football in Cameroon. More in the following story with Haisincha.
Jules Denis Onana bases his project of vying for the Fecafoot top job comes December 11th on 10 solid points. The administrative reorganization of the Cameroon Football Federation and the different football leagues strengthen the relationship between Fecafoot and the public, technical development and the restructuring of football affairs, putting a particular attention on the development of youth and female football, and of course fetch financial partners to boost the economic situation of Cameroon football. All these the former Indomitable Lion has placed under one slogan: back to the essential.
Back to the essential is just about players, and from the players we start to build something. And I would like to introduce my views on the subject, my simple opinion as a former football player.
Though faced with tough challengers like Samuel Eto'o, Jules Denis Onana is happy to see footballers struggling to grab the Fecafoot presidency.
I just think it's a good thing that 3 former Indomitable Lions, 3 former football players decided without any talking upfront to run for the election.
The former Lion underlines that the situation of Cameroon football is deplorable, reason why he is coming to rescue now, before it gets worse.
39 days to AFCON competition in Cameroon. The face of Cameroon's economic city Douala is gradually changing, carrying the colors of the competition as one of the host towns. Gadgets are already littering the streets. As a yearning following story, Usale Sharifa.
Few weeks to the start of the Total Energy African Cup of Nations in Cameroon, the market ambience in the economic capital city, Douala, is gradually changing as football lovers visit markets massively every day. I have flags, scarves, and for the flags, the prices varies due to the sizes, as I have the small, the medium, and the big size. Everybody is in need of the flag, for they can't wait to hold it during the African Cup of Nations. At the Aqua Shopping Center, where Canal team of reporters visited this November 29, and different vendors have mobilized a stock of these football gadgets like jerseys and flags are very much visible. Cameroonians impatiently waiting to leave this moment where passion is unleashed around the round ball. This is coming too long after the hosting of the biggest football event way back in 1972. Cameroonians can't wait to leave such a moment of soccer animation. We have the Cameroon jersey, which are even initially lacking on the market, and not only good, even the customers do not just tell each other yet, because we always have complaints about the organization. According to vendors, the buying atmosphere will be frenzy from mid-December, 2 weeks to the kickoff.
Cameroon in the year 2022 will witness an increase of 0.2% in its mobile money transactions. Announcement made by government some few weeks back does not please mobile money operators, who are instead pleading for a decrease given the fact that current fee is already too high. According to them, more on that story with William of Peru.
Mobile money transactions will witness an increase of 0.2% in its fee. An announcement which does not relieve the operators due to the hard situations they are already facing. Clients often complain about the taxes imposed when transferring money. For instance, sending 10,000 francs costs 175 francs. Then, as from 50,000 francs, the fee turns to 700 francs. And clients say the fee is too high. On the part of clients, having to pay the present fee in order to run their daily activities is already a burden, and do not approve of the announcement. The actual fee for money transfer is already too high. Thinking on increasing the fee is really a bad idea. In a country like Cameroon, where financial hardship wreaks havoc in businesses, specialists say the tax will be for every consumer.
C'est l'impôt sur la consommation. Donc, si vous consommez, vous
It is a tax on what you consume. As long as you consume a product, paying the fee is obligatory. For instance, if the government wants to transfer money through mobile operators, she will also pay the tax, as it applies on every consumer.
parce que c'est un impôt sur la consommation.
Thus, as consumers hope for a decrease in the fee, they will have to get ready to pay the new fee in order to easily move on with their transactions.
With the aim of facilitating a movement fighting urban disorder and reducing theft, sellers of the Avenue Kennedy market, the nation's political capital, Yaoundé, have been tasked to leave the roadside market to the newly constructed Angola market, or else they would have to face the wrath of the government. The forces were out in their numbers this morning to ensure no one exposes on their usual side. More on the story with our student journalist in Yaoundé.
Dry streets, roadside vendors scattered, forces of law and order present in their numbers. The situation of the famous Avenue Kennedy this Tuesday. Sellers expected to leave the road market to the newly constructed Angola market, few meters from the Yaoundé Center market, to liberate the road and ease movement and circulation.
Is to have a lot of place for pedestrians. We start by Avenue Kennedy. We hope that we will go on with other streets.
The sellers advise to the opinion but demand for more time.
We really want to go there, but let them give us time. Maybe till the 1st of January. For now, stores are not yet open. There are no clients. At times, we stay till 2 p.m., but not even one client. And we have women and children.
The situation the traders lament have put them under serious hardship.
It is not easy. We don't know what the government wants from us. They have driven us away that they want the town to be in order. We can't even get a small 1,000 or 2,000 francs per day. For now, we are really suffering. We need the intervention of the first Cameroonian.
The liberation of crowd vendors from this strategic position of the city is also in line with combating the high-rising phenomenon of pickpockets at the center town, part of the measures to fight urban disorder in prelude of the upcoming AFCON.
Lockdowns and shutdowns in the northwest region have been blamed on the growing cases of gender-based violence in that part of the country. Findings presented by associations at the start of 16 days activism against gender-based violence. More on the story. According to a survey, the numerous long periods of lockdowns in the northwest region have increased the number of cases of gender-based violence in the communities. The findings have been presented in Bamenda this Friday by the Community Agriculture and Environmental Protection Association at the start of 16 days activism against gender-based violence for 2021.
Instead of decreasing, it's rather on the rise because most of the women were complaining that their husbands are taking advantage of them because of the COVID-19. There was a lockdown. Most of them were at home. Economically, they were handicapped.
Gender activists, juries, counselors and nurses drilled invited non-governmental organizations on techniques on how to go about relieving victims of rape and other forms of violence from their trauma.
Both men and women, boys and girls are exposed to gender-based violence. But why we usually lay a little more emphasis on the women and the girls is simply because they are more vulnerable and constitute the larger group of persons who are exposed to such practices.
We organize the 16 days activism in order to bring together stakeholders so we can put our heads together and see if we can get more access to GBV services in order to eradicate this pandemic in our community and to also help GBV victims and finally stop the existence of gender-based violence.
Victims of any form of gender-based violence have been advised to muster courage and seek legal redress than sweep the deeds under the carpet, or for community leaders to make gains out of their predicaments. After close to 5 days of dormant activities imposed by the ongoing crisis in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon, the Boom community say it is a moment to re-strategize and bring back peace and development back home. The converge in Cameroon's economic city Douala over the weekend. Saleh Sharifa completes that story.
They were out in the numbers, sons and daughters of the Boom community, who came from far and near, converging in Bonaberi Douala this weekend to communion in a general assembly after close to 5 years of a dormant mode imposed by the ongoing socio-political crisis in the northwest and southwest regions. It was a moment to re-strategize on measures to revamp development activities back home, even with rough atmosphere.
We did a lot in Boom, and I think that our mission, our vision, what actually we want is Boom development. Development in all aspects. So I think that with that in my head, I think the people will also do what we did. Because we should not challenge anybody. We should work for the development of Boom precisely.
It was also an occasion to put in place a new driving force at the helm of the Boom Development Union. The newly elected ESCO challenged to bring all on board, reconcile factions, and pilot the Boom population through a pathway of peace, solidarity, and prosperity.
It has been tough for us to pay students' school fees. Is very rough. So my children has been in the house for 3 years. So right now, but I'm praying to God that next time I will receive a school fees for my children.
The come together was also a forum to put a smile on the faces of internally displaced persons who backed home some key basic needs. With the numerous difficulties that prevent them from easily going back home since the start of the crisis, this was an opportunity to live, breathe, and rejoice in the Boom culture. Boom is a subdivision in Boyo division of the northwest region of Cameroon.
And that brings us to the end of this edition of Newscasts on Canal de International. Thanks so much for watching. We have news in the French language at exactly 19h50 with Julio Trésor Tanon. We equally have the brief with Lil Piégeux. So me, I'll be back tomorrow, same time. Good night.